Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to 5 Question Friday. My name is Cam. Clearly, Sarah's not here yet, and you had a little taste of her last week, but guess who's back? Back again. Welcome. Sretan Petak, as Sarah usually says. Ooh, I hear the church bells ringing. I don't know if you guys can hear them. I love them. Oh, I love the sound of church bells. I am here at Dubovac Castle behind me, which is so beautiful, but sort of hidden by these leaves. But Dubovac Castle is in Karlovac, so I'm very excited to be live in Karlovac and have you guys join me. Hello, welcome. If you've sort of been keeping track on 5 Question Friday, I haven't been giving you any sort of like 360 view, but I really want to try it today. But as I've shared with you in the past, I am a little bit of a klutz, but it's such a cool view up here that I'm willing to risk it if you are. So what I'm actually going to do is lift up the tripod and like move the whole tripod around, because if you caught the show 2 weeks ago when I was on Island Sholta, you would know that the whole thingy that like holds the phone snapped off, and my son and I had to like MacGyver it with double-sided tape. Shout out to anybody who knows who MacGyver is. Maybe just Canadians. I don't know if any Americans know who MacGyver was. But so I'm gonna try to do with the tripod and hopefully not make a whole mess of it. But okay, so well, here's the castle, right? And I will share with you guys a little bit about this castle because it's one of my favorite spots in Karlovac. But okay, so scared. Here we go. So check out this view of the city of Karlovac. So it's even better if you can imagine in the winter, because like all of these leaves aren't here. So like you actually get a more panoramic view, but I love it up here. Okay, I'm going to slowly attempt to get this back and make sure that it's straight. I think we're good. Okay, hold on. I see a bunch of messages before, already a ton of them. Hey, Terry. Oh, thanks for joining. That must mean your internet is like up and running to some decent capacity. We've got a lot of, we've got a lot of people joining us today. Hi. Okay. So Diana Bartolets, what are you saying, Diana? Woo, where did it go? Oh, hello, Vesela Amalia. I know you. We grew up together. Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Diana says, my first time joining a live 5 Question Friday, and you are in my husband's hometown, literally steps away from my father-in-law's childhood home. Okay, that is so cool. I love driving up to Stari Grad here. It's such a cool little place. You drive by the church and the funeral, the graveyard, the cemetery. I don't know where the school is exactly, but it's such a beautiful little tight-knit community. It's like, it's Karlovac, but like their own little tiny paradise. Terry, I'm assuming us old Americans is in reference to my MacGyver. My MacGyver shout out. Yeah, I MacGyver everything all the time. Okay, so I've got a little bit of information about the Dubovac Castle behind me. And as I said, I actually love coming here. In the 2 years that we've been here, we've actually come to eat 3 times. And each time the food is phenomenal. Inside there's a museum, as well as a restaurant, and it's magical. It's got this really, really cool vibe. And when I did the research, because up until this point I didn't do any research, I was just like, ooh, castle, because you know, when you grow up in Canada, there's no ooh castle moments ever, other than Castle Loma, which does not count in Toronto. But I like, it's like I'm just so excited to see the castle and like feel it that I rarely even read very much about it. And so for today's session, just like I did with the other 5 Question Fridays that I host, I really love to dig in and pick a special location to share with you guys. So yeah. So the Dubovac Castle, this area is also known as the old town of Dubovac, but it's under Karlovac, and it's been under the ownership of the municipality of Karlovac since 1896. And they have done such an incredible job of maintaining it and just taking care of it. Really, the work inside has been amazing. This castle is actually one of the oldest and most well-preserved monuments of feudal architecture in Croatia. It totally has this Robin Hood vibe, like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, like Kevin Costner era. I'm really dating myself today. It got its name from the oak forest that's all around us, Dubovac, and it's located on a hill above the Kupa. So I had to drive along the Kupa River and then come up the hill to get here. I love the Kupa River. I love all of the rivers in Karlovac. I will not have a favorite or share any, love for one more than the other. The castle was first mentioned. I feel like I'm really close. I'm close talking. There we go. The castle was first mentioned in the 1300s when it got its first parish priest. And then it's been mentioned so many times in history. And as I was reading, I mean, Zrinski came up, Frankopan came up, like it's got a lot of history here. As I mentioned, there's a museum and a restaurant inside the walls. And okay, this was the coolest part that I discovered in my research. And so there is a legend, folks, that there's the well that's inside the castle that actually, if you go down, you're not supposed to go down the well, but apparently at the bottom of the well, there are secret tunnels, and they lead to the bank of the Kupa River, and then the other there's also one that leads to the Zvezda and Karlovac, so the stars, so that core part of Stari Grad Karlovac. So cool. However, when I was reading up on it, actually nobody's like verified this, and everybody just kind of they want to believe it. They want to keep it legend, and so they, nobody's actually fact checked this. But I kind of like that. It's got that feel. It's got that mystery to it, and it's got a really cool vibe. So I'm all about believing the legend, just blind faith on this one. But yeah, so I'll give you another look at it. It's so pretty. Really accessible too. I mean, there's these stairs here, but they're really, they're not very steep. There's parking at the bottom, so you can walk up the whole way, but this is parking at the back, so it's a lot closer. So, not wheelchair accessible, because we'll be talking about disabilities today, but definitely, like, my husband came here when he had a cast and an air boot or crutches, and we were able to kind of navigate the stairs here. So accessible for older people with walkers and stuff like that, but not so much wheelchair, unless there's some other entrance, but I don't think so. Anyways, so that's that. I can't believe I actually survived showing you I didn't really do a 360. I did kind of like a 90, but it's all for, God, I feel like I should do like a full 360 because it's just so pretty. Okay, I'm totally gonna do a full 360. Okay, so because the oak trees are like the trees and everything, and the oaks, they're just so beautiful. So here's back to that view of Karlovac. And then this is the side, like this is the hill that you go up. So there's the town down there. You can kind of see it through the trees and like just forests and hills. It's pretty schmamazing. Pretty amazing. Okay. Yes, no? Am I good? Am I straight? I might be a little crooked. We're just gonna have to deal. Okay, let me make sure. Hey, awesome. Okay, scrolling through. Oh, I see some more of my colleagues here. So hello. There we go. Am I better now? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh, there we go. No. So many technical difficulties. Yeah, I'm definitely not straight. All right, it is what it is at this point. This is what I'm talking about. I think it was worth the view, though. All right, let's get started. So 5-Question Friday, you know where it's at. You can submit your questions to us via Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, through our 5-Question Friday form. We get questions that we use from our consulting sessions, mine, Sarah's, Tamara's, emails, whatever it might be. Anything that we think is a great question to share with you guys, we want them. In our newsletter, actually, you can submit questions as well. So every Tuesday, our incredible newsletter goes out that Daniela and Maria work on, and there's a link to watch the latest episode, and underneath it says ask us anything, and you really truly can. So when you get that newsletter on Tuesday, send us a question through that through that button, and your question may be featured on 5 Question Friday. So let's get started, shall we? I think that was, I did go off a little bit there on a tangent, but I'm bringing it back. I'm focusing back. It's one more tangent. Like, I have my jacket on and a sweater, and my nose is super cold. It's chilly. It's not like Canada chilly, but like, it's a different kind of cold here. Here we go. I'm going on a tangent. It's a different kind of cold here. Like, it's very wet. It's very, very wet. And so I feel like that damp cold thing happening. Whereas in Canada, I find it's a very, very dry cold, at least, north of Toronto, where I spent my life growing up. And the thing about the coldness here is it's really gray outside, right? Like, there's no sun. Like in Canada, it can be like minus 25, but like when you step outside and you feel the sun on your face, even though like when you inhale, your nostrils stick together, that sun on your face is like, oh, it feels so good. And I miss that here. And they're really gray winters up here in Zagreb. So I don't know if anybody else who's moved, I think it's a whole other experience, I'd imagine, on the coast, anywhere in Dalmatia. Maybe Istra is the same as Zagreb, or Kvarner, but yeah. I definitely feel it. I can definitely feel the lack of sunshine. So anyway, I literally have a sweater on. If I could, I would, like, if I found my like fingerless gloves, I probably would have put them on. But yeah, it's chilly. So got the jacket on. I also didn't put the microphone on again because this jacket makes noise. So I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay. I think my colleagues would have already told me, but yeah, so I'm doing it without a mic. All right. Now let's get started, shall we? So question 1 came to us anonymously through IG, actually through a DM chat. So you'll know who you are when I read your question. But what happens if you lose your Croatian ID? Fabulous question. I love it. So if you lose your ID, or if you suspect any abuse, like identity theft or something like that, or if you find someone's ID card, Croatian ID card, so their osobna iskaznica, it's important that you report it right away to MUP, the administrative police station closest to you. And so the new cards, they have these digital certificates, right? So what they do is they cancel those. If you find your card within 8 days, they can reinstate the digital certificates. But if you don't find it within 8 days, then they get canceled and you have to get a new card. If you lose your ID card and you're abroad, then you report it to your local embassy or consulate, again, right away. If you are older, so if you're 70 or older and you have one of the old osobna iskaznica, which are iskaznicas, which aren't digitized, then you have a 15-day window. So if you find it again, then they won't cancel it within 15 days. But once that 15 days passes, it's canceled as well, and you need to get a new one. And that's it. Easy peasy. So really important that you report it. Really important if you find someone else's that you report it as well. And you can do that, as I said, at the local MUP, or if you're abroad, at the consulate or embassy. So thank you so much for that question. It was great. I did not know that. We do have a guide on how to get your Croatian ID, your osobna iskaznica. So you can check that out if you would like it. If you're watching on Instagram, send us a DM and we'll be happy to send you the guide. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, the great thing is if you scroll down, you'll be able to see all of the guides and resources and links that we include with this episode down below, and you can click on them automatically. So yes, we have the guide for how to apply. All right. So question 2, I put anonymous IG, but this was, there was a bunch of people, there's a handful of people that have recently asked us about special needs and disabilities, children with special needs. And it was a much broader question with sort of a lot of information. And so Daniela did this incredible research, and I whittled this down to be about children with special needs. So how do you navigate the disability system if you have a child with special needs is essentially what I did, because if I left it broad, this would be such a huge question, that it would be a little bit too difficult to answer. So, and again, thanks Daniela for all of the research that you did on this. I think that I think this will be helpful for people who were inquiring. So here's a couple of things that every parent of a child with a disability or a special need should know. First of all, you have the right to an increased child allowance, an allowance for assistance or care in the social welfare system, as well as if you're a parent, the ability to take a leave from work or a right to work less hours so that you can care for a child who has severe developmental difficulties and needs the care. I will say though, you have to be a resident here for 3 years before you can access the social welfare system. So we've been here for 2 years, so it won't be another year until I can access things like this, or again, for your situation, you have to take a look. So if you've just come here, you don't get this access right away. You have to get to the end of that 3rd year before you can apply for it. There are other general benefits that I thought were really cool and mentionable, worth mentioning. First of all, access to free public transportation, access to free transport via the ferries on the Jadrolinija lines, preferential parking, and employment support and incentives. So this is good. Let's talk a little bit about schools. So in the preschool setting, which is like 0 to 6 years old here, there are no special programs. It's just regular public system, no special programs. There are likely many private programs, but I sort of want to focus on public system and what's available. There are special programs that begin at age 6, and I want to talk about from 6 until school starts, because a lot of children, you don't start until grade 1 here officially. Like there's no, my kids were in their elementary school at 3.5 and 4 years old. Here they don't start until 7, until grade 1 officially. And many parents hold their children back an additional year. So it's not unusual to not have a child start grade 1 here until they're 8 years old. So from 6 to the start of school, they've got a couple of things. They've got educational groups with regular programming. They also have educational groups with special programming, and then access to special institutions as well for specific needs. Where do you start? So for someone coming here with special needs, how do you even get there? Well, you've got your core physicians that are part of your HZZO. So you've got your family doctor, gynecologist, dentist, and if your children are small enough, you also have a pediatrician, and the pediatrician is where it's at and where you start. And from there, they will make a referral to a specialist. For mental health, for example, the assessments are done by a child psychiatrist. So you would go, if you still need diagnoses, you would do tests and assessments with them. If you're coming with a diagnosis, you can bring it. Some of you may be wondering, do I need to translate it? I think that depends on your physician. We didn't need to translate any of our documentation. All of our specialists took everything that we provided from Canada without a translation. So, you can do the translation from here. So I wouldn't recommend doing anything like that if you're coming back, before you come, because you never know who's going to need what. So just bring all of those documents with you. We have a great guide, about what to bring with you if you're returning or coming to Croatia. So this would be one of those things, any IEPs or diagnoses, you want to bring those with you. For physical disabilities, again, a specialist would be recommended, or you'd go from your pediatrician to a specialist. The specialist would assess, they would discuss options with you about available therapies, and that would be your starting point for physical disabilities as well. There's definitely integration happening in the Croatian school system, like elementary school. I'm assuming high school. I can only speak from an elementary school experience. They do have assistants in classrooms. So sometimes children have assistants. And actually, it's really cool how they do it here. I mean, I don't know if it's the same. I don't think it's the same in Ontario anyways, in my experience, but class sizes. So if there is a child with special needs who has an assistant with them, they actually count as 2 students in the classroom. So it does affect the class sizes. So in taking into account that child may need more assistance and more time and more attention from the teacher. So, it lowers the class size to accommodate for the additional attention that student might need. And so that also that the other children get additional attention, and it's accounted for that there's someone in the classroom with special needs, which I think is really, really cool. I don't know if they do that in other places, but I really like that because from where I come from, class sizes are a real issue, and teachers are exhausted. And so I thought that this was a really cool little thing that I noticed in our school. Here's the thing about assistants. They are only partially covered by the government, and not every child who needs an assistant gets one. They're not always available in certain areas. So it's not a perfect system, just like anywhere else. And also, sometimes it comes down to finances. If the families don't have enough money to cover, the rest of the amount, that could sometimes mean somebody not getting the assistance that they need. Oh, speaking of teachers, Katarina, you just came on, and I was just comparing the Ontario school system to this one here, and noting that when there's a child with special needs, they actually count it as two students in the classroom versus one. And I was saying how I don't know if they do this in other places, but anyways, check it out. I don't know if you'll correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'd appreciate that. Okay, there are also special programs here, special institutions, but really it all depends on you, the family, the child, what your needs are, what the child's needs are, what your needs are as a family, and to navigate and see what works for you. Hi, Cam. Oh boy. Yeah. No, I know. I opened up a little can of worms there. Okay, there are also non-governmental institutes, so NGOs, that offer programs to children. I feel like I'm still close talking here with you guys today. They offer programs to children and young people with disabilities and special needs. So, Savjetovalište za mlade sa invaliditetom, that is a mouthful, that word. That's the counseling center for young people and children with disabilities. That's located in Zagreb. UNICEF has a lot of programs available. And then there's other organizations, so Udruge, are like Zvončići, Udruga Siena, and a lot more. And if you would like a link to these Udruge, Daniela put a list of about 6 or 7 of them together. So send me a DM and I'm happy to send them to you. Really, really great resources for families. Before I finish off this question, I sort of just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned in navigating this healthcare system here. And that is that the healthcare workers here, when it comes to some special needs that we've sort of been dealing with, they're really well educated, and they are really on top of the latest research. And our experience has been incredible. But what's so difficult, is when I share with them our Canadian experience and the resources that we have access to in Canada. Like, they're drooling. They wish that they could have access to them. So it's access to resources and funding here that is the biggest challenge, and that sort of keeps their hands tied here. But the work that they're doing, and the healthcare providers that we've been in touch with and worked with, they've been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Some in the public system and some in the private system. The other thing, too, that I have found challenging as someone coming in from the outside is understanding how to find these resources. So, for example, I was kind of looking for like a camp, like a farm camp, where kids go to like a farm, and they work alongside a therapist and things like that. And I did find something, but it was really challenging to find something because I don't know what to look for. And so, for example, there's a really, really cool place just outside of Zagreb towards Zagorje that I think, or is it the other way? I can't remember now. But they have, it's a riding camp. And so the riding with horses is mostly for children with physical disabilities. So it's like a physical therapy on the horses, which I didn't even know about. It was really cool learning about it. But they have a program where like the kids come and they clean out the stall. It's like cleaning poo and like grooming the horses and working alongside a therapist while they're doing that. But the wait list is long, and it's private, right? So I wish there was more of those places here, and I think that they're coming, but it's slowly but surely. So if you've had any experiences with private places here or even in the public system, I would love to hear about this. I think this is an important topic. I think mental health, special needs for young people, for children with disabilities, I think it's just starting to come to the forefront. More people are talking about it. There are more supports, but there's still a long way to go. So yeah, thank you for this question. Like I said in the beginning, it came from a couple of people. It was very broad. And so for today's episode, we really narrowed it down. I saw a comment come in earlier in this question. That is a great question. Yes, thank you. Yes, I thought so too. Okay, awesome. So we've got a few guides for anybody interested. We've got the Family Services and Child Benefits in Croatia guide. We've got resources, institutions, and associations for parents in Croatia. And then, as I said, we've got the NGO guide. So shoot me a DM, or once the YouTube link is up, you can see all of the links in the bottom. Afine Fibers. What's the name of the place? My cousin runs one and I'm wondering if it's hers. Ooh, I can't remember right now because I have the memory of a goldfish. But if you send me a DM, then when I get home, I will look it up and I will message you on Monday and let you know. So please shoot me a message. That would be cool if it was. Yeah, very, very cool. Okay, question 3. This one comes from Dennis. Dennis filled out the 5-question Friday form. So thanks, Dennis. So I want to apply for the digital nomad permit and bring my girlfriend to Croatia with me, but we are not married. However, we've been living together for more than 3 years. What are the requirements, or what is the process to get the common law relationship status recognized? We don't really have any legal documents or statements to confirm this, just a lot of neat photos together. Thanks, Dennis. So basically the question is, what do I need to prove in order to prove family reunification with the partner that I live with if we're not married? Okay, so first let's talk about what is family reunification. So family reunification is used when a person applies for residence due to their familial relationship with another person who has the right to be in Croatia on some other basis. Both third country nationals and EU EEA nationals can apply for temporary residence under this purpose if they meet the basic requirements. To qualify for family reunification, you must be a close family member, and whether or not you're considered a close family member depends on the nationality of the person who is applying. So close family members of a third country national. So if the person that has the permit, or so the digital nomad permit, is a third country national and someone wants to join them on the family reunification basis, can be extramarital partners if they've been in a relationship for 3 years or more, so common law, or extramarital partners if the community lasts 3 years or shorter, but it is possible to prove the stability of a permanent relationship. Among other things that define what a close family member is, but I wanted to sort of focus on this, not married, not a spouse, and less than 3 years and more than 3 years. So this is how you prove common law, a common law union in Croatia. So once again, in Croatia, a relationship is considered common law after 3 years, except when a couple has a child together. So if they have a child together, then you also, in terms of the documentations, would provide a birth certificate for the child or the decision of the competent adoption authority. But then in terms of other documents, it's excerpt from the registrar of a common law union, notarized statement of common law partners on cohabitation, witness statements on the existence and duration of cohabitation, and then proof of cohabitation for 3 years in Croatia or abroad immediately before the submission of the application. Great question, Dennis. We've got a couple of guides. So how to apply for temporary residence in Croatia based on family reunification. It goes through all of the details of every sort of scenario. And then he was asking about the digital nomad permit. So if anyone is interested, we've also got the guide for how to apply for digital nomad permit. And then there's so many questions about this permit that we have a separate frequently asked questions and FAQ about this permit. So you can check out that link as well. Whew. it's getting colder. My nose is getting colder. How's everybody doing so far? We're halfway. We're at the Diaspora Tip of the Week, brought to you by yours truly. When I was brainstorming about what to share with you today, I was thinking about sort of how much our life has changed for the better since moving here. And don't get me wrong, we had an amazing life in Canada and wonderful friends and everything, and family, but it's different here. And so I wanted to share how, even though I grew up as a Croatian with lots of Croatian culture, coming to Croatia, that culture is a little bit different and a little bit tweaked. And so I want to share with you what I wrote about this. So, my Diaspora Tip of the Week: what to expect when it comes to cultural differences. As a first-generation Croatian Canadian, I grew up living and breathing the values and traditions of Croatia. But growing up abroad means that my expectations and habits of the way things should be have been shaped very, very differently. Even though Croatia is my heart, my homeland, and I've come here regularly my whole life, there were still plenty of cultural surprises that took a little getting used to. Whether it's the more relaxed attitude towards time, the importance of family gatherings, the different work-life balance, adapting to these very subtle cultural differences has been a learning experience. And today I want to share some of those cultural quirks, just to help other returning diaspora, so that they don't catch you so off guard, and some tips on how to adjust when moving back to Croatia or to Croatia especially from a faster paced life. All right, here we go. So in Croatia, especially in smaller towns, life tends to move at a more relaxed pace, especially compared to, like I said, countries like the States, Canada, the UK, where punctuality and efficiency are highly prioritized. Here's the thing. Coming here through the years, I never associated the term Polako with Zagreb. Polako, which just means kind of take it easy. It was very much like a Dalmatian thing for me, Polako, Laganini. So it did catch me off guard that even though they don't call it Polako here, there is still Polako happening here, like really Polako for my standards. It really truly is a core part of daily life. People are generally less stressed about time, and it's common for business meetings, public services, and social events to start later than scheduled. Cue the anxiety. As diaspora, this slower pace might feel frustrating at first, especially if you're used to a more fast-paced lifestyle. Needless to say, you do need to adjust and trust the process. Things will happen. Things will get done. Some of the stressful things is plans don't get made until the day before or that day or a few hours ahead. Or for example, I'm used to planning birthday parties 4 or 5 weeks ahead at least in Canada, and here you get an invite on Tuesday or Wednesday for a party on Saturday, and I'm like, how am I gonna get the gift? How am I gonna do this? But it's cool. Stuff gets done. It's common here for people to spend significant time with their extended families, and families often live close to one another, even well into adulthood, which contrasts with many diaspora countries where individuals and individualism, or independence and individualism, are more prioritized. Now, don't get me wrong, as Croatian diaspora, family is still extremely important, but it's more on an organized way. So let me get back to reading. Sunday lunches with family are almost sacred, and holidays or special events usually involve large gatherings. So this is nothing new to me. But what was new to me was seeing my family on a weekly, if not almost daily basis. Stopping by for coffee, preparing our zimnica together, so all of our pickling, and if any of you caught that, I shared some of that in stories. Planning to make kobasa in the winter. I love this. In Canada, absolutely we connect with family, but as I said, it's more organized. It's you can count on seeing people at weddings, funerals, first communion, depending on sort of what part of your life you're in, weddings, funerals, first communions, chrisma, confirmation. I'm losing my English words, people. You know, milestone anniversaries, things like that. But here it's a daily thing, and I love it. I love it a lot. It's definitely next level. Integrating into this family-oriented culture can be an adjustment, especially if you're used to a more independent lifestyle. But yeah, I gotta say I love it. All right, let's talk about work-life balance, because Croatians know how to do that. Croatia tends to work to live rather than live to work. And live to work is what I came from. And when people ask me why did we come here, you know, that's one of the biggest things, because in Canada we live to work, and here you work to live. And when I say that to people, they just get it. They know, and they recognize how important that is, and they're just like, okay, yeah, I get it. And then they share with me how their family in Germany, you know, feels the same way, and I'm like, yep, I got it. While salaries might be lower than in many fast-paced countries, there is a strong emphasis on enjoying life outside of work hours. Spending time with family, visiting the coast, or enjoying long coffee breaks at kafići, this is all part of the Croatian lifestyle. Coffee culture is particularly significant, with people often meeting friends for coffee and spending hours chatting, even on weekdays. And if you've come from a more career-driven environment, this slower pace of work can be a big adjustment. Oh my gosh, it took me like a year to get used to coffee culture. Really, like, I was going out for so many coffees. I was like, people, how am I supposed to get anything done here if I'm constantly going for coffees? And it was amazing. Like, I love it. I can't imagine now not going for multiple coffees in a week, because these relationships are staying strong. And it's not about scheduling a date, you know, 3 weeks from now, maybe, that we're going to cancel. No, it's like, hey, idemo na kavu. Okay, you drop what you're doing and you go for a coffee, period. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, let's talk about Croatian bureaucracy, because I can't talk about getting used to cultural quirks and expectations if I don't talk about bureaucracy. Definitely, it's more complex. It's definitely slower here. And things like getting your permits done, opening bank accounts, exchanging your driver's license, there is a heck of a lot more paperwork and longer wait times. And it's still a very, very paper-based society here. And that slows things down significantly. It's helpful to prepare for this and approach it with patience. I remember, you know, before coming here, I actually made a trip to sort out all of our paperwork before we came with the kids. And I had 5 days. I gave myself 5 days, which was nuts, but I did it. But I was like, I walked into whether it was the Matični Ured, whether it was the MUP, and I was like, I'm prepared to be here for however long I'm going to be here. If I get something done, like done today, that's amazing, and I will celebrate. I might be sent to another building. I might be missing one piece of paper. Fali ti jedan papir. That's okay. I have dedicated my day today to doing this. And honestly, in the end, everything got done really fast, and with ease, and people were really helpful. And it was a great surprise. There were a couple of hiccups, but it wasn't like, they weren't devastating, and I was prepared for them. I knew that there could be, and I knew that things were slower, and I knew that I was navigating a bureaucracy that I wasn't familiar with. This wasn't me walking into Service Ontario. You know, it was a whole other beast. And so mentally preparing for that. Asking locals for advice or tips on navigating the system can make the process easier. For me, this steep learning curve extended to healthcare, understanding how to navigate the new system, even like signing up for poor Nada at the HZZO office in Jaska. I mean, that woman had to deal with me. I must have been in there a whole lot. Like, I call her, I know her name. That's how often I was in there. But, you know, a couple of things that I've learned too is you really, kindness goes a long way. And like, so sometimes I start my conversations with people like, hey, you know, like, by the way, we moved back from Canada. I'm really sorry. I'm not familiar with this process. You know, I apologize if I'm asking redundant questions, you know, or things that seem obvious. You know, I may take up more of your time. And people's response to that is like, oh my God, no problem at all. Your Croatian is so great. You're doing awesome. Yes. Then they spell things out for me, or they'll send me an email with the information written. I find that people really do go the extra mile. And also the Canadian in me starts every conversation with Bog, kako ste? Like, even if it's like this official kind of interaction, and it really throws them off guard, because usually it's like izvolte and it's all business in that moment. And then like I disarm them a little bit with the hi, how are you? And then when I tell them that I'm from Canada, they're like, oh, this makes sense. Silly Canadian. But yeah, I find that that's been helpful for me, and it has it's made it less stressful for me to deal with it, because I go in there and I start the conversation with saying, hey, I am not a pro at I have not been navigating this system for, the last 40 years. I might need a little bit more hand holding and help, and we move forward. So I guess tips all around is be patient, ask questions. There are things here that are going to be different from what you're used to, and they can be beautiful or they can be a pain in the butt, but the good comes with the bad and the bad comes with the good. And ultimately, this is then where your home is and where your heart is. People will always help you along the way. This is something that I can guarantee about Hrvatska. Croatian people are so community-based, and I love it. And I think Hrvati and the diaspora are that way too, but I think the kilometers and the miles and settling in different places, I think that ripped that fabric apart a little bit. And we do our best to keep that sense of community together. We really do. But the further the generation is away from the immigrants, the harder it is to keep those fabrics together. And so being here where the fabrics are so closely knit is a really, really beautiful place to be. So yeah, that's my Diaspora tip of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. Let's get back to your questions, shall we? All right. So this one is from Rachel, and she reached out over Instagram. Are there visitor information centers in each town? Love this question. What a practical question, whether you're living here or not. Really helpful to know. So thanks, Daniela, for your extra research on this. Not all cities have tourist information centers or visitor centers, but you'll most likely find them in the big cities like Rijeka, Zagreb, Split, Plitvice Lakes, Paklenica National Park, places like that are very tourist centered. Yes, you'll find them there. If you're visiting a smaller town, it likely doesn't have some sort of official visitor center, but it has a tourist board, and you can call the tourist board or email them, and they'll be able to send you information ahead of your visit or ahead of your trip. If the town does not have their own tourist board, then you can contact the Županija or the county, their tourist board, for additional information. I got to give a shout out to Croatia Full of Life, the National Tourist Board. Guys, every year they have this amazing marketing campaign with these colorful, incredible, blow your mind videos promoting Croatia. And they just released the latest. So this year, the theme is Posjeti me, so visit me. Last year it was live like a local, and the videos were phenomenal. So they just released the most recent Posjeti me video, and it was for Slavonia. Be still my heart. This was a visual masterpiece, an auditory masterpiece. My God, if they could find a way to help you smell it, it's an incredible video. I recommend you look up these videos online. They're available on YouTube. I've included a link below if you're watching us on YouTube to the Slavonia video, because when I watch it, and I've watched it multiple times, I get goosebumps when I watch it. That's how amazing it is. So yeah, check it out. And this is a great place to start. We've included a link to all the tourist boards, so if you need that, we can send it to you. And Croatia Full of Life also has an Explore Croatia app available for iPhone and Android. That's a really great way to explore the country, whether you're coming as a tourist or if you're living here. And I've included the link to the Slavonia Posjeti me video, which watch it and then let me know what you thought. Yeah, thanks for that question. It was so great. I enjoyed answering that one. Okay. Question 5 of 5 Question Friday. We are at the end. My fingers are frozen. It's getting dark. The Magla is settling into the city of Karlovac over there. Magla fog. Losing my English words. How are you guys doing? Are you still here? Thanks for being here to the end. So this question actually also, we've had multiple people send us this question, but Danny and Nicoletta on Instagram both sent pretty similar questions. So I have a pre-printed invoice for water maintenance, a water maintenance bill, and it has an IBAN number on it. So all I need to do is pay via bank. Can I pay via non-Croatian bank account? And then, another question, I'm trying to figure out how to pay invoices from abroad. So the answer, whether you can pay invoices from abroad or not, really has to do with it depends on the bill, and it depends on the city. So for example, the water bills can be paid online if your property is in the city of Zagreb, or Šibenik has something called e-račune that you can connect to your FINA account and their services, and you can pay your bills through FINA. HEP Electra has a really great app where you can check your usage and also pay your bills. But I did not know this until I was putting together this question and checking out Daniela's research. And maybe many of you already know about this, but have you heard of KexPay? I'm so excited about this, and we'll be doing it this weekend. Okay, so KexPay is a really, really great option to pay your bills in Croatia. So you can connect your foreign bank account to KexPay as well to the app, and you can pay your bills. So this works. KexPay allows you to receive and pay bills through their app, and they have over 100 companies and cities that are registered. So they've really put together a huge amount of these companies that can be included. If you live abroad, there are no fees. Bonus. When you sign up, the way that you do it is you give them your OIB, and then that's how it finds all of your bills and it lists them. There's a really cool video explaining how it works, and it was super easy. I was like, okay, I can do this. This is awesome. It's a great way to centralize all of your bills. I will definitely be switching to this. So it's called KexPay. Anybody here using KexPay already? Like, tell me all about it, because it looks totally cool. Because some of my bills, like, I'm here, so I know I was answering for someone abroad, but like some bills come in the mail with the posta, some bills come over my email, like it's just all over the place. And so to have them all centralized in one location would be amazing. Okay, so KexPay, yeah, K as in kilo, K-E-K as in kilo again, S, KexPay. And we'll provide the link. So if you need the link, shoot me a DM and I will send you the link. So we have a couple of guides, how to pay bills in Croatia, and then the guide to the KexPay. That's it. That's the end. We've come to the end of another 5 Question Friday. We're at 10 minutes to 6. That's pretty good for for a timeline. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. I hope you enjoyed 5 Question Friday. Sarah will be back again. She is in the skies now, flying from stateside to Euroside. And so I wish her safe travels, and we missed her. Sarah, we missed you, and we can't wait to have you back. And you guys, I'm sure, can hardly wait to have her back. But I hope you enjoyed seeing this mug on your 5 Question Friday over these last couple weeks. I've had a blast. It's so much work. Listen, I already have mad respect for Sarah and what she does here on Instagram and on social media. But after, doing this for a few weeks and the work that it takes ahead of time, and it's not just one person, it's Terry logging the questions. It's the rest of us sending questions that we come across. It's Daniela doing research. It's us updating, making sure that, that we're answering new questions, that we're not repeating things. Like, it's really cool. It's a labor of love, but it is a lot of work. And then scoping out the place, and like Sarah does it with such ease, but like it's still new to me. So, you know, there's a few hiccups here and there, especially with prep work, but it's been such a joy. Stepping a little bit outside of my comfort zone, doing something live, but I appreciate you guys being here and all the support. After each episode, so many of you send me DMs and you know, encouraging me and letting me know that you enjoyed the episode and you found it helpful. So thank you to you for your support. This is all my long Croatian goodbye. What else did I want to say? Nothing. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. As Sarah always says, sretan petak, happy Friday. Ugodan vikend vam želim. Take a little bit of time to enjoy Croatia this weekend if you're here. And that's it. Ajde bok. Ciao. Where do I end this? Here it is. Bye-bye.